Physically under the knife. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. What's you up to now? Documenting the journey as we transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online business, or combine both for our organization, having an offline and an online component. And I just kind of share the experiences I've heard. Now, today we're talking about under the knife, the idiom and the expression under the knife. And I had to figure out, well, how does that affect and impact our business? Well, I use it as my segue into talking about waste and 8 ways to reduce waste, because there's a lot of things that we can do to reduce, reuse, and recycle things, not only in our business, but in our personal lives as well. I like to save things. I'm a saver. So I use things that I save and repurpose them for other things. One of my favorite things to save is stuff that my granddaughter and I can use for craft projects. We like to do craft projects, little girls for some reason. And I'm one of them too. So when I was a little girl, I loved to do creative, crafty projects. So if we have things that are fun to turn into something else, and she can have her creative juices flowing, those are the kind of things I like to save and keep for her. So when we get packaging that's really fun, like this piece of, I don't know, corrugated insulation that came in I don't even know when it came in, but it came in a package. We'll use this to make some kind of a picture frame or a push pin thing or something that she can do that will be fun and creative, and use some of her absolutely overflowing energy in a focused way sometimes. So we talked about different ways that you can do those things in your business. You know, there's a lot of ways to do it. And when we look at our facility and we look at our surroundings, we look at our environment, and we say, and we look for, well, what are we doing now, right? What are we doing now? The S, what's our story now? What do we want it to be? If we want to reduce waste and save resources and reuse things and have a smaller footprint on the world around us, what are some things we can do to start doing that, right? We don't have to do everything at once. We don't just have to go massive green and build a new facility and all these things. That would be actually a huge waste of resources. We need to optimize what we have on hand. We need to do it in all areas and aspects of our business and our life, right? In our communication, in our personal development, in our relationships. Every area of our life can be touched. Now, we were talking about that yesterday, the interaction with physical aspects of our life with other areas of our life. But waste is one of those areas. You know, there's so many things we can do. And I actually have done a lot of projects in corporate America to reduce waste, and not to necessarily reduce our footprint, but to make sure that the things that we were wasting in our processes could be reused in another way that benefited the world as a whole, right? So, for example, I worked at a giant industrial bakery, and one of the things we did is we took our food waste and we actually sold it to a company that made animal food, animal feeds, and mostly pig food, but other animals as well. But it's like anything else. If we measure it, if we pay attention to it, if we give it some attention, at least once in a while we think about it, we're more likely to get improvement in that area than if we just ignore it. We just do what we do because it's faster and easier and more efficient in our minds, right? Is it really faster and easier and more efficient to waste things that could be used in another way? Not really, right? It isn't. So we talked about under the knife today for supersize your business. Our second to the last day, focusing on our physical well-being, was the subject of the BU 365-day challenge. This year we're doing one thing every day that improves us for the annual challenge. And I decided to set this year's challenge up in ways that I actually do my life, right? And share how I do it. And so I've taken the monthly, the 30-day free Get Up and Go challenge, and I've merged that into the 365-day challenge, in that each month we will focus on, sometime during the month, it's not the same exact days every month, but I suppose maybe I could do that. I could restructure it and set it up the same way, but I didn't plan on it that way. But I'm thinking about it now. I could redo that. But every month we will focus on a certain life framework area and aspect of our life. And the life framework I personally use is one that I learned from Tony Robbins, I don't know, in the late 70s, early 80s, that he got from Jim Rohn, that he got from, I don't know, probably Napoleon Hill. Who knows? They all, all the gurus run together and come together at some point, right? Because everything is based on universal laws and universal principles and the way the world really works, right? So, you know, it would be nice if we all came with a manual when we were born. Wouldn't that be nice? But We don't. We have to all figure it out ourselves, which seems like a really inefficient way of being human, but maybe it's not my thing to change, because it's this way for a reason, because we're all here to have our own experiences. So I use the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution. And then last year I added communication and confidence based on a Tony Robbins NLP look-alike trainer guy that I'm following this year. I signed up for a year-long program with him. I've done Tony Robbins stuff. Now I'm doing this other man's for a little bit. I do not believe that I will re-up for another year with him as a coach. I think that within the 1 year period, I will have gotten what I joined the program for and what I want to, and then whatever's next for me will be what's next for me. But that's how I do coaches and coaching and find coaches in my life. I have a specific thing I want to do, achieve, or focus on, and I'll find a coach for that, or I'll model other companies or other businesses or other entities or other people, or I'll read a bunch of books on it. And then once I get my questions answered and I apply those things in my life, then I move on to what is the next thing for me. And that was the topic of our physical discussion today. What's next physically for you in terms of moving forward physically throughout the rest of the year? We don't just focus on one thing for a month and then we forget about it for the rest of the year. We use the SOAP framework to look at our current situation and story, and then what do we want it to be? Then we come up with options, and we start the ball rolling of coming up with physical options. We take action in one, we see what results we get, and then we find a way to automate the things that work for us and do things every day, a little thing every day. We combine it with the other things we're doing in our life to make sure that we're moving toward the results that we want in our long-term goals. So what's next is all about what's your goal and what do you need to do next? Not all the things you need to do, but what's the next thing that you can do to move you toward what you want? So we talked about that today for the annual challenge. And then tomorrow will be our final day for physical, focusing on physical. And then we will switch to emotional. Why emotional? Because February to me feels like an emotional month. And as much as we like to think we're not emotional beings, we absolutely positively are. We immediately respond to anything emotionally, and then we justify it with our thoughts and feelings and beliefs and thinking. That's how human beings work. I didn't make it up. It's how we work. So we might as well figure out how to work with how we work instead of wishing it were different, right? I really wish that I could just think about something and decide it and do it and it would be done. But that's not the way it works for me or for anyone else. All right. That is all I've got today. Hanging out with my amazing granddaughter today when her folks go split boarding. They're going to go do some winter sports. Yay, good for them. I remember when I did winter sports, it made the winter go by so much faster. So if I can help you in any way, ask in the comments below. Otherwise, feel free to join us for the annual challenge. You can hop in anytime. And I said yesterday I was going to put that into, and I'm thinking about how do I get that into the Get Up and Go private Facebook group so that we can have all of them for the whole year in there, the whole 365 days, and then people can join whenever they want the challenge. And it doesn't have to be, oh, if you didn't join it January 1st, you can't do it. That would be ridiculous, because it doesn't matter what order we talk about these things in. They're evergreen and always applicable to our life, right? Because it's a continually improving thing. It's like a circle. You just go round and around and around and around, and it never ends, right? That's what our lives are. All right. That's it. Have an awesome day. I will be with you tomorrow. Again, if I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, just continue to improve and be the best version of yourself so you can set the example for others in a positive way.